We are live. Welcome everybody. Hi Mark. Well, we've got a special guest. Yep. We've got our special guest Steve today, but before we introduce him, here's a little blast of a brand new song that we'd like to play to you of our new Bloomer and Katie project. Get them shoulders up.
You just can't get the look me to see
I'll stop it there for now. So there's a little surprise for you folks, the Bloomer and Katie project. And just to we'll get some comments and some chat with our good friend and colleague, singer, songwriter, and founding member of Show of Hands, Mr. Steve Knightley.
Did you say songwriter?
Songwriter. I meant to anyway.
What a day!
And all around Cuba.
Cuba.
So what's the difference between Katie and Bloomer and Broom Bezzums then?
Well, did you not hear one?
Yeah, I mean, but is this a new project?
It is, yeah.
But it's the two of you.
It is, yeah. And hopefully with other band members. But the core of the band is us two, and it's just a more contemporary style of songwriting.
I might do something with Phil Beer and call it Knightley and Beer.
You should. Yeah, we can recommend it. It's a great way of passing lockdown.
Yeah, okay.
Talking of which, 2020's turned out differently for all of us. How have you and Phil and you with your own project, how have you dealt with that and what have you made of it?
Well, I sort of knew it was all over in the end of March for the foreseeable future. So I thought, okay, this is going to be 3 or 4 years before it comes back as it was. So I better get my head around that as quickly as possible. And anything less than that is a bit of a bonus, isn't it? So I said, okay, I'm no longer a live musician for the next year or two. And I've got to do other stuff, which is basically sit in front of a camera and talk. And also make these little films that I've been making. So, it's no good sitting there and thinking, well, it's going to come back soon and I'm just going to sit it out. You really have to make a list of all your assets, all your connections, all of your resources on March the 16th and start from scratch. And that's really what I've done. And so with that in mind, I'm actually having quite a good time. You know, I'm actually feel like I'm off the treadmill a bit and feeling pretty creative. But I'm now bloody Cecil B. Knightley. I'm more making films than I am music. So,
Yeah,
well, we've seen some of the stuff you've done, and it's great. We've been enjoying it, and I think everyone else has been too. Yeah, it's kind of similar. Then you were asking, what's the difference between Bloomer and Katie and Broom Bezzums? We were on a I wouldn't call it a treadmill, but we were going round and round the circuit and doing the same thing all the time, and it was actually quite a refreshing thing just to pull out the electric guitars.
I was just going to say.
It's got sort of negative connotations, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. No, okay. No, it was a good one. It was a nice treadmill. It was a nice cushioned mill, and we were in a very good place. But I've been defined by a diary for about 25 years. And in a way, it's quite nice not to be. The only problem is trying to get back to some sort of earning capacity, That's the problem. But there again, with the big Show of Hands touring beast, it was never as profitable as solo work anyway. So what that did was give us our solo profile, if you see what I mean. The festivals and the big shows meant that when I went to a village hall somewhere, someone said, "Oh, he must be quite good because normally he plays there," But it does. I've not written a lot, but I've drunk a lot of beer.
And worked out how to use a laptop and video software and
Well, it's more about putting together a team of people because we've done 3 films so far. I've got another Christmas hootenanny planned in a big Devon barn. We are going to film the Show of Hands 4-piece tour, and we're having a film of our tour of India edited. So the big problem is do you only pitch that to your diehards, or do you try and spread the word far and wide? And at the moment, we've made it free for view.
Yeah.
And it's paid for itself and made a small profit, but it's not, well, it's getting a wide coverage, but if we'd been touring, it'd be brilliant, because I think we'd have some more people coming along. But you know, as you know, all visual media did in the past was a way of building up your live work. It never was any money in it, but
so it's not being put to the test yet. Is that what you're saying?
We're gaining profile through it, and it also accords with our general philosophy of sharing the music, whereas everyone else I see at the moment is locking it up and putting paywalls around it.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but every week I get another email from someone else offering me a streaming facility, you know, to go in, all these cameras. I'm not sure it's viable. I'm not sure it's the way forward, really, but good luck.
People are generous. I think we've seen how generous how willing people are, that they can't go to a concert, they can't buy a ticket, so they've been buying a lot more CDs from the website than in the past, and donating money when we've put stuff out there for free. So
what I can see happening, Andrew, is all of the intermediaries, the agents, the managers, and all that, they can see the internet over there and the band over there, and they're definitely trying to stand between them.
Okay.
Hence this idea of paywalls and ticketed links, and links would expire. I mean, a guy said to me the other day that I was doing my live show, and I send a private YouTube link up to people. He said, "Well, what's to stop someone sharing it?" And I went, "Yeah, isn't that great?" Yeah. And the whole world changed, you know. But we want people to spread the word as long as we cover our costs and make a small profit. Or we just say, look, we have so many thousand diehards, let's just try and squeeze as much as we can from. And I don't really want to go there yet. You know, I don't think we need to. So I think they're after content. I think what you're doing now is exactly right. They don't want to see people doing gigs at their phone, you know, behind the PA and with all the big gestures. It looks a bit sad, you know.
It feels a bit sad as well.
Yeah.
Tried it.
What you're doing is you should be sitting next to people and telling them a story and singing them a song. Yeah. I think that's the way to pitch it, really. And let them see a part of you that they don't normally see. But that's just my philosophy anyway.
We did one like that, but we had to pre-record because we couldn't meet up. So we decided to just completely change the idea and turned it into a bit of a comedy sketch show. You can just use the technology rather than trying to do what you did before in a less good way. Just try and make something of the other new possibilities. I suppose that's the thing.
Well, I did a quiz. I don't know if you saw my quiz.
I didn't see that.
It was a disaster. I didn't realise how organised you have to be for a quiz.
You have to know the answers.
Like knowing the answers,
and also where did the preacher come from? All right, so questions like that. What it should have been: what job did the Galway farmer do?
Nice, easy questions.
And then you got to give them about a minute to go, oh, the Galway farmer. Oh, yeah, okay. I rather over-pitched it. I did the odds of the Galway farmer minus the year we released so-and-so, divided. I did these really complex ones, and I really lost the audience a bit. So I just got drunker and drunker, I'm afraid. But some people enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should try a quiz. So what do you think of our new idea? Like, you've asked us about why it's a different name, but we've got like a totally different type of music. We played you one clip there. Should we play you another clip and then ask you this question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's another
songwriter, Steve Knightley.
Yeah. So we'll get Steve's, because Steve's been great over the years, giving us really useful advice. So the right person to ask. So here's a bit of Upstart.
Flames are all around. Reach out, stretching out your fingertips. Black out, words falling on lips. Drop out, fall on stubbled ground. What's the world coming to? Something stolen, something blue. The other foot, the other shoe now. The devil's breathing down my neck. Turn around and sign the check. Light the fuse and hit the deck now. Upstart, give the world a shake now. Take part,
stop it there. So, quite different.
Very different. I think that's what's so liberating about this phase. We are not limited to the folk audience that we're going to be meeting next week.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's a good chance to experiment a bit. To be honest, also something had to give. The demographic wasn't sustainable. If you look at the age of the folk audience, it needed refreshing with something. Honestly, just how long would you have given it? If you're a musician in your 20s now, are you looking at a career playing to that audience? It needed to renew itself and refresh itself, and I think the only way to do it is with new material and with this bloody virus. I mean, if you can't look at it in a positive light, we're all going to go mad. But
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
but that sounds quite damning for traditional music. What you're saying there? That sounds quite damning for
What the trouble with Andrew is that none of the younger musicians were making an effort to bring their own generation in. They were content to play to an older audience and accepting it as the natural order of things. And I never would have started playing if that had been the norm when I was in my teens, in my late teens. So somehow all that generation have to acquire a peer group that's within 10 years and not 40. I don't think, otherwise it was never sustainable, was it? It really isn't. So I see this as a real opportunity, and to make, I don't see why traditional music equals older people. It didn't when I was a kid, and I don't think it need to now, really.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think in a way it's gone, with younger generation, it's gone more into playing with each other and less for an audience, which is what traditional music's actually about anyway. So, not necessarily a bad thing.
Not as a career. The only young people they see are other musicians, you're right. And something had to change. You can't build a career on sessions. You've got to have a concert environment where audiences, at least in the late 30s and early 40s, were turning up. Yeah. And at the moment, there wasn't any sign of that. But maybe when people come out of this, they will want music and craftsmanship and stagecraft. They definitely will. And so we just need to be ready to do it. So back to your, collaborations and different music. I think if you can't do it now, there's never going to be another time, really.
Yeah, it did seem like a very natural or a happy accident, if you like. Do you know what I mean? I was personally delighted to get off the treadmill. I was very tired, and quite, frustrated that things weren't growing or moving, and it was just very, very, it was great. I mean, we had some, Danube cruise and the Costa. It's fantastic what it's given us, but over here in Germany, we were, I felt we were kind of like just treading water, really. And now was the time, like, okay, so you've got all this free time, and why not? Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So have you done any gigs at all?
4 or 5 this year, I think.
Yeah,
totally.
Phil and I were there a couple of weeks ago. We were in Shortens.
I was going to ask you that.
So I saw a video from the airport or something. Yeah,
it was great. We got Uwe up at Shortens. They have this autumn program where people buy a series of tickets. He gave us a reasonable fee, and then Gunther Schmidt in Rintown, the little private gig there, he gave us something to come over, and we flew business class from Heathrow for about £200. With a 72k baggage limit.
So you brought the whole PA.
At the airport in Hanover, the guy said, "What? Just pick a car." Literally, it was empty. It was really weird. So we had a really great 3 days away, and came back with a little bit, but it was a bit bizarre, But now we say, sod the sound engineer, sod all the production. We'll just go over and strum, and if necessary, we'll do it acoustically to 50 people. It's going back to that in a way.
Yeah.
Which is also quite nice. I mean, that's where our last gig we basically did like that as well. And
we're doing 2 days in Exmouth. We're doing a matinee and an evening in the round acoustically, surrounded with tables, 120 people max.
Yeah, cool.
And it will probably make as much as the whole 5-piece production thing, So
the only bad news is for the production people. I think the real losers of this whole pandemic are backline drummers, keyboard players, sound engineers, and agents, because they're not facing the audience and can't do what we're doing now.
Because at the end of the day, we chose to live by the lottery. You know, every tour is a lottery, isn't it? Every album is a lottery. Every time you step out the door, we are on chance. You know, we're going by chance. But all those people that study to make us look and sound good and never got the applause. You know, I do feel really sorry for them.
Yeah.
All the ones I know are driving vans, working in restaurants, and doing other stuff. You know, well, at least I'm still making music and doing something to do with what I did before. So
yeah.
Well, I'm afraid, as happens so quickly every week, the time is up. So thanks, Steve, for joining us. Good luck with your films. What's your next film? What's your next broadcast?
We are going to do a sing around with Jeff Lakeman, with Jim Causley, with a guy called James Studholme, with Phil Miranda and me, and Chris Hoban, in a Devon medieval barn, all sitting around by candlelight, purely acoustically, seasonal Christmas songs sung by communist atheists.
Cool.
You don't do things by halves, do you? I have to say that. Well, good luck with that. Tune in, everybody. Check out Steve Knightley, Show of Hands, and all their projects. Take care, Steve. All the best to everyone back there in Devon, and we'll catch up soon.
Good luck with Blady and Kuma.
It's a new name.
We're used to that. We always choose names no one can pronounce. It's our trademark. All the best, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Catch up soon.